If I asked you what was something that Sony PlayStation does better than anybody else, what are they most known for? I would probably almost guarantee that most of you, 95% of you, would say they're known for these epic single-player AAA exclusive games, right? Or just exclusive games. Either one's an acceptable answer. And you'd 100% be right. That's what Sony's known for. They put out quality games time and time again, and they put them out at such a rate that really kind of baffles your mind just how quickly they're able to come out with these things, and the high level of quality, like game of the year type quality for a lot of these games. Even when their games are scored lower, like Days Gone, they're still amazing games. You know, I mean, there's little patches and little fixes and stuff like that, but even in those instances, they still end up being quite amazing games. And this is something that Sony, a developer's talking about in particular with Sony, that everybody's going to enjoy. I can guarantee it. What's up, everybody? Crapgamer here with Crapgamer Reviews, back with yet another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that. It helps out the channel, and that means a lot to me personally. And again, thank you to all the new subscribers, all the old subscribers, anybody who hasn't even subscribed but just watch. I appreciate it. The best way to support a little YouTuber like me is just to like the video. You can share it out. You can hit the bell so you're notified of all the content as soon as possible. All simple, easy ways, and very much appreciated. I really go to bat and put a lot of work into these videos now, and I got a lot of cool things coming, and just really need your help to sort of get me over the hump, man, and I appreciate each and every one of you. So, kind of getting down to it once again, developers are talking about what the PlayStation 5, and in some instances, Xbox Series X are going to be able to do. What are they going to be able to do long term? I think we're going to have to wait for that, mainly because, think about this, right? We got the Xbox One and PS4, and how long was it before we got games that really took advantage of it? You know, you could say almost right away for some of the exclusive stuff, but like the third-party stuff, not as much. And we sort of ended up where we are. If you go back one generation, let's go back to the PS3 generation, okay? The PS3 and Xbox 360 generation, those were really good generations for me personally. Probably my favorite. Xbox 360, I got that. I saw Gears of War. I was hooked. Absolutely incredible franchise. When you look over on Sony, and they had so many, Uncharted series, they just had so many different games and so many different sort of avenues with games. It was like they had something as awesome as the Uncharted series. They had an online series with Resistance that was amazing right from the start. They had SOCOM, they had Warhawk, Starhawk, Little Big Planet, a little bit of everything, and it was really just impressive how they were able to do that. And I got to say, it makes me excited about the future. So when we got into this generation, Sony wasn't really trying that online thing very much right away. It was like the multiplayer stuff. They really kind of found their niche with the big single-player epic kind of third-person, over-the-shoulder, open-world games. And I don't blame them for that. I think that's very smart on their part to do that, because at the end of the day, that's what people are going to really sort of kind of get next to, like, hey, this is what they do. They do it very, very well. They're the only ones doing that, right? Like Nintendo does their own thing, and they do some single player like stuff too, but it's all like the Zeldas, which are great, and Marios and stuff like that. But I'm talking like the more realistic stuff, and I feel like Sony's the only company, even out of third parties, that are going to those lengths to put out those big games. I mean, Red Dead Redemption 2, one of my favorite games, but then they also have this online mode, which who knows how many resources went to that, and I'm not even sure they're supporting that anymore. So, it's just one of those things where we sort of have to keep in mind that things change time and time again. But the developer is talking about exactly what can be expected from the PlayStation 5, and I gotta say, I absolutely love it. So, obviously they have this huge highlighted solid-state drive is one of the biggest improvements made for the next generation. Sony and Microsoft both have improved solid-state drives, but it's already been well noted and noticed that the PlayStation 5 hard drive is much better, is a much bigger advantage. As such, this one person in an interview, which I will link, guys, if you're new to my channel, any kind of news story, I will link the article in the description below. Right? If it's an opinion piece, there's no need to link that, because that's my own opinion. If it is something that's a leak or a rumor and I can link it, I will link it. If not, I'll just tell you to take it with a grain of salt, because things change all the time in this industry, and I'm the first person to tell you that. I can tell you years ago, I heard about a Splinter Cell game supposed to be at Microsoft's presser at E3, and that ended up getting pushed back or possibly even canceled. So, you hear things, and sometimes stuff changes. So just kind of throwing that out there. So when asked about the leverage of the PlayStation 5 solid-state drive, in his view, this developer said that being able to load faster and stream more content through much more quickly will be a big boost, and that games aiming for large, high-detailed worlds will benefit from it more than most. He added that their game uses streaming tech for its world, but comfortably falls within the limits of current-gen hardware. He says, and I quote, "Everything will feel a bit snappier, but that's already something you've sort of gotten used to on PCs with solid-state drive. But now for the first time you can rely on that speed being available on a console. There have been studies on how much of a loading the player can tolerate before it starts to be annoying. Making it load faster, you can simply add more stuff in shorter time and still provide a good user experience. Streaming world content is one of the big things that will get better. You can have more detailed worlds as you can stream data faster from mass storage units into the GPU. You can also move faster in the game world as the hardware on can keep up better." He also says that his game, which is Dismantle, has a streaming system for the world, but they're probably not exceeding even current-gen capabilities in that regard. Games with massively, extremely detailed worlds will benefit the most. He also added that for multi-platform developers, they will most likely scale data in such a manner that their games work the same on both, which, that's probably not something that you want to hear, but luckily some of the bigger third parties are taking the time to work on the PlayStation 5 to get it up and running as best as is possible. So I want to go back to this right here. This is exactly what I was talking about. If you have these big open world games, massively detailed worlds, your God of Wars, your Horizon Zero Dawns, your Days Gones, all these type, your Death Strandings, these type of games are going to be paying off the most. So while it's easy to see that, both Microsoft and Sony will have advantages with solid state drives and we're going to get faster load times, on Sony's side, they sort of really, really utilize that first party stuff in a big way. So what I'm trying to say is, it makes a lot of sense for them and their developers to showcase this technology in ways that we haven't seen before, and I think that makes me extremely happy. And that's something that a lot of people probably didn't even realize is, look, solid state drive is going to be great for both these consoles for loading, but what on Microsoft's side do they have that could take advantage in the way that he's talking about, right? Like big open world, most likely probably single player, like Halo, Gears, these aren't open world games, So it's like, what are they really going to take advantage of it with? Another Perfect Dark, maybe a Fable, but when you look at Sony's side, the next God of War, whatever Naughty Dog's working on next, if there's another Uncharted, there's all kinds of different scenarios in which Sony could really take advantage of what they're offering on the PlayStation 5 much more and use it much more aptly than Microsoft does. That's my point, and I think his point as well. The bad part is, hey, maybe developers of the smaller end games won't be able to really put their games out and have them be that much difference between each other, and that does kind of suck. I feel like developers should take full advantage of these consoles regardless of anything else, right? Like, if you can take some advantage of the PlayStation 5, please take advantage of it. If there's something you can take advantage of in the Xbox Series X, please take advantage of it. That's all I'm asking. I really do just think that that we end up getting shorted sometimes because developers hold back or because of parity and stuff like that. At the end of the day, that's the last thing I want. I definitely don't want parity, and I do feel like it's one of those things that we could see more often, where these developers spend a little bit more time kind of optimizing for each of the platforms. So they are close in power, but again, they do offer distinctly different experiences. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that sort of plays out later on in the generation. I would say maybe after the first year and a half, 2 years. Microsoft's supposedly going to be doing their, they're going to have their exclusives, quote unquote, coming out within probably 2 years. So we'll have to wait for them to actually start to deliver on those. Sony right away seems like they have some incredible things to showcase, and it's really just going to come down to who can do it better and who can do it first. And I just think that Sony has the better studios and has the better idea on what fans want. So hopefully they can deliver. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's just one of those things where I guess we're going to have to wait and see. But it is a very exciting time, and I want to see exactly what both these companies have to offer and I want to see them with my own eyes. So I'm very excited to see, and hopefully Microsoft will sell me on an Xbox Series X. Let's be real. We all want, if we can swing it, to get both consoles, and I would love to get both consoles. Hopefully I can do that so I can kind of judge for myself, but Microsoft has to sell me on something to buy an Xbox Series X with. I will link this in the description. What do you guys think? Who does this help more? I think it obviously helps Sony much, much more, but you might disagree. Let me know in the comments below, or on Twitter, or Xbox Live, or PSN. Whatever floats your boat, I'll be happy to interact with you guys. Please stay safe, happy, and healthy. I really mean that, and thank you for spending some time with me on one of my videos. Rack 'em up. Game on. Crapgamer out.
Unscripted.